For anyone who isn't familiar with the concept, a recursive translation is when something is taken from one language, translated to at least one more, and then converted back to the source language. The results can be quite interesting. Anyway, let's go. Falling Shadow. Billy becomes the new Dragon Master of the Dragon Dojo and meets his twin brother Jimmy. After Jimmy disappeared, Billy headed to Dragonmark to take him to his brother. Billy then confronts Shadow Boss, who is revealed to be Jimmy. The legend continues. The Shadow Master appears first and orders Jimmy to retrieve his twin brother and the Dragon Sword. Jimmy kidnaps Billy but fails to retrieve his sword. The Shadow Master then attempts to escape from the two brothers, but the brothers escape and Jimmy switches sides and joins Billy. The price of forgetting. Shadow, his master, begins distributing a drug called Oblivion, which transforms the inhabitants of Metro His City into mindless zombies. Later, the Lee brothers meet a retired Special Forces member named Colonel McCready, who is off the road after being forced off the road by a pair of drug drivers, and the three work together to stop Master Shadow. Destroy his pharmaceutical factory. River of Tears. Shadow Master starts operating an illegal brawling gang in the woodlands of Metro City. Maggle then forces a homeless martial artist named Vortex to enter the tournament by holding a group of homeless children hostage. Billy and Jimmy must save the children and help the Vortex before Shadow, his master, can get rid of them. End. Jimmy is framed by a bewildered police chief for a series of murders and sent to Redica prison. Billy and Marianne must free Jimmy before Shadow and his master use a deadly mutant named Hannibal to finish him off. Mistress of Chi. Billy and Jimmy meet Sulan, a powerful Kigon master, and Tsunami, a sumo wrestler. Later, in order to right the evil ways of his shadow, the Master Sulian was suspended. Tsunami and Brother Lee work together to try to save Sulian when Master Shadow attempts to connect Sulian to his virtual reality machine, sucking Surian's mind and stealing his powers. Cross Line. Billy lost his memory after being impaled by a very powerful magnetic field, and the Shadow Master told Billy that he was his son. He has to save the real Billy before he loses his memory forever. Reproduction. A one-armed mechanic and former police officer named Mike Pollard is led to create a new assault vehicle for Master Shadow. Once Mike realizes what he's done, he builds Sanyang's attack vehicle and helps stop the Shadow Master. Kiss Call. Metro City passes a law banning handguns. Shadow Master takes advantage of the situation to illegally sell handheld bombs. Dragon's sister is injured in a shootout over illegal arms sales, and Dragon decides to kill the Master. Work to shut down Shadow's weapons factory. Heart of the Problem. Kami, the master of the Komodo Dojo, recruits a baby dragon named Michael and uses him to attack the Shadow Dojo and take revenge on the Shadow Master. Must work with the dragon to free Michael. Hunting Dragons. Shadow Master used holograms to frame Sanyang for various criminal activities, and the Metro City Police Department dispatched a robotic police officer named Clue to arrest Sanyang, who had been forced out of her dysfunctional Clue. Dragon must prove his innocence while saving Metro City. Longan. The Master of Shadows has discovered a powerful dragon artifact called the Eye of the Dragon. This artifact grants its owner the power of vision. Jimmy grabs the object and grants it incredible powers. However, he began to stumble. Jimmy must choose between his own subject and his brother. Abyss. Shadow, his master, places Billy and Jimmy in a hidden location in the Shadow Dojo called the Abyss, and traps the Dragon Warrior in his painting. In the Abyss, Billy and Jimmy meet her mother Marika, who has been trapped there since the brothers were little. Marika and her sons must escape from the Abyss to unleash Dragon Quest and stop the Shadow Masters from ruling Metro City. Shadow Khan. An archaeologist named Dr. Rinkis takes the Lee brothers to an ancient underground dragon dojo, where they discover a powerful dragon artifact known as the Dragon's Claw. Dr. Linkvist also discovered an ancient creature known as Shadow Khan, who had been imprisoned in a protective prison. When Khan gives Shadow his lore powerful new weapons and armor, the twin his dragons must use their claws to stop him. Shadow Claw. Icepick has invented a new video game-like virtual reality system that can blow up people and things in the real world when he succeeds in turning Double Dragon into a video game. A video game-obsessed young man named Danny uses his skills to allow Brother Lee to escape from his VR machine and transform the dragon into a dragon. I have to help get my nails back. Death Claw. Threatened by the Shadow Master, Shadow Khan rebuilt the Shadow Dojo and began terrifying Metro His City with visions representing people's worst fears. The twin dragons, with the help of Dr. Linkist and his son, must retrieve the claw and stop Shadow Khan of him. Virtual Reality House. Shadow Master began stealing his data from computers around the world using virtual reality systems, taking over the buyer's meeting as an Interpol undercover agent. Team Dragon turns to a covert computer hacker named Megabyte in hopes of defeating Shadow in his own Grandmaster game. Background. When Shadow, his master, begins enslaving the mutant underground city in his factory, Double Dragon decides to save the workers with the help of his mutant named DJ. Road Warrior. Master Shadow uses his VR again to absorb people's minds this time and become the smartest person alive. Billy, Jimmy, and Kona must once again team up with Megabyte and Sashiko to stop Shadow his master and free his trapped mind. Rotational speed. Shadow Master begins manufacturing a steroid-like drug called RPM in his new underground factory. When drug hits Belgium, Jimmy and Doug must free Billy and help him recover from his addiction. Sword Strike. Dr. Rinkisk discovers his sword, an ancient dragon inhabited by spirits called Dauron. When the Shadow Master detonates and twists the sword, Vortex attaches it to the dragon helicopter, accidentally allowing Doron to act on autopilot. Shadow Confusion. Countdown betrayed the Shadow Master after being scolded for ruining the mission. Using Countdown, Shadow his Khan hypnotizes Dodgy into throwing his dragon claws into black flames. Released from prison. After taking control of the Shadow Master and Shadow taking control of his warriors, Khan launched an attack on the Dragon Dojo. Ancient Wine. Shadow Khan revives an old group of extremist warriors and launches an attack on Metro City. Finding his current weapons and army useless against Khan and his warriors, Dragon relies on his old friend Kami to create a new armor to help stop Shadow Khan and his minions. Mirror of Liberty. As mutants in Undertown rise and are accepted as equals in Metro City, Shadow her master hatches a plan to kidnap the police chief's daughter and accuse her of being a mutant. Not only does Double Dragon have to stop the escalating violence between Metro City and the Undertown mutants, so does the Commissioner's daughter. Shadow Demon returns. Shadow Master, who overthrew Dauron's master hundreds of years ago. Shen Heron. Shadow He resurrects ancient beasts known as demons. Surprisingly, Dao Long later found his master unharmed and asleep inside the cave. The Dragon Lord then awakens an ancient dragon warrior to help him fight the shadow monsters again. Dragon Fence. Shadow Khan began pestering the underworld with his group of extremist fighters. Meanwhile, Bill and Jimmy discover a large egg hidden in an ancient underground temple. The egg hatches to reveal a real dragon, who immediately bonds with the dog. Daj and his new pet help the Dragon Masters help Khan and his minions. It's all the same thing. Thank you for the registration question?